If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place, and it sure has been useful for us here at Taylor Talk. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Hi, I'm Eliza.
And I'm Reese, and welcome to Taylor Talk.
Hey guys, what's up?
Yeah, just the casual vibe.
Welcome to our first actual episode. Introductions to ourselves. So, I guess we should start off. Who are we, Reese? Who are we?
Well, I'm Reese. I'm a student. I'm a health student in high school, and Taylor Swift is my favorite artist, which is why I'm here.
Yes. Hi, I'm Eliza. I am a senior in high school, so I'm about to go off to college, and clearly Taylor Swift is also my favorite artist. So do you want to talk about our favorite albums and why, or?
Yeah, why don't you go first?
Okay, so this is a long one, but I'll try to make it short. So pretty much, Reputation is my favorite album because I guess when Taylor was going through all of her drama, I was going through the same thing in a way. Not like the exact same thing, but like people didn't like me, I didn't like them. And so when the Look What You Made Me Do single came out, I was all over it. And ever since then, I've just like listened to Reputation on repeat, and I just love the story that it tells. How about you, Reese?
So I do love Reputation. It's a really good album, and it really has a vibe that I feel like it's very specific and unique from the other albums.
Yeah.
My favorite album has changed a lot, and recently it has changed, probably since I've told you. But currently my favorite album is Lover. So.
Oh, you told me Lover. I like Lover, yeah.
I did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I don't really have a specific reason, but the biggest reason I can think of that it has become my favorite is it came out around a little bit before the pandemic hit. And so the entire pandemic, I was listening to that album nonstop. Like, I was like, this is the album. I didn't really have any other artists I listened to. It was just Taylor at that point. So I was really listening to that album, and I ended up relating to a lot of it. So I liked it a lot.
That's so sweet that you relate to Lover. I wish. Okay.
There are some sad songs in there.
Oh my gosh, yes. The one about her mom, that is the saddest one.
That one, I've cried to that one so many times.
Yes. I was like, oh my gosh, because she's like, in doctor's office sliding, I didn't tell you I was scared, and soon you'll get better. Oh my gosh. I was like crying.
It hurts me.
Yes.
It hurts me in the best way possible.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So I guess I should ask now, how were you introduced to Taylor's music?
Well, I grew up in the South, so obviously I was introduced to country music really early on. And I became obsessed with the song Mean when I was really, really young.
Yeah.
And I have the music video memorized. I have obviously the song memorized.
Mm-hmm.
I could reenact the entire music video right here and now. How about you?
Okay. So Taylor was always kind of like in my life in a way. So when I was younger, I was really into like indie rock music and like indie smaller music, not so much pop until later on. But like I remember I also, have grown up in the South, so country music is a bigger deal, and I used to have a lot of friends that listened to songs like Teardrops on My Guitar and stuff like that. But I think my first ever encounter with Taylor before Red, before 1989, before she got super big, was I listened to Somebody Speak Now on the radio. It was Back to December, and I was like, why is this girl singing about a month of the year?
I love that song.
I do too. Now I love it. I'm like, Oh my gosh. And then the bridge to that song, it's a great song now, but then I was like, speak now, there's this girl on the front of a cover with curly hair and a purple dress. That's crazy. Yeah.
It did. I mean, as a kid, yeah, Taylor Swift just kind of seemed like she was just there. Like she was an influence, but she was just kind of. We
Yeah.
knew everyone knew Taylor Swift existed. Like it was
Exactly.
hard to not know her.
Right. I feel like it wasn't really though until like up until Red came out, I was like, who is this girl? And then I Knew You Were Trouble came out, 22, songs like that where I was like, I liked it, you know. I feel like anyone can, you know, listen to We Are Never Getting Back Together or I Knew You Were Trouble or even 22 and like sing along to all the lyrics, because those were the most popular ones. But another distinct thing that I remember, and I don't know if you were like, if you ever remember this, but she did a partnership or a collab with Scholastic with that album because like Scholastic is like red is their color. And I remember being all over that. Like, my teacher stopped in the middle of class one day and like made us watch this Taylor Swift live stream. And I was like, man, this girl is like, she's a little bit more popular than I expected her to be. Have you ever seen that?
I think a reason I haven't is because you're a couple years older than me. You
Mm-hmm.
probably got to experience Taylor a little more early on than I did because
Yeah.
about it's only 2 years, but at the same
Right.
time, a lot can happen in those 2 years, especially with her career, because her career kicked off around when I was born. So
Yeah. I mean, okay, that was in the third grade when it was either second or third grade. So you would have been in like kindergarten or first grade.
yeah,
So,
that's probably why I don't remember.
yeah, she promoted reading and writing. And I was like, dang. And then in middle school, she was, for me, it was like fifth and sixth grade was 1989 era.
Oh, I remember the 1989 era.
Yes.
I was singing, oh my gosh, so many
Yes.
songs because I used to listen to Radio Disney. Like,
Oh, yes.
yeah, and she was like, her song Blank Space was really big on Radio Disney and Shake It Off, obviously. But
Right.
they were so big, and I remember hearing it on the top 100 every Sunday. I would watch it with my dad or listen to it with my dad.
Oh my gosh. But here's the thing though, when I was younger, and I didn't realize this up until I've kind of like gone back over the years and like read up about like the facts and stuff that was happening when her albums were releasing. So when I was younger and listening to albums like Red in 1989, I never once thought, oh, all she does is write about boys and breakups. Like, I never got that from her. So when I first listened to Blank Space and Shake It Off, like I was like, man, this girl is really creative. I didn't really pay attention to the lyrics much until later when she was telling people like, you know, I've gotten so much hate for all this, so Shake It Off and Blank Space are really my like, you know, haters are gonna hate songs. But like when I was like in fifth and sixth grade listening to those like songs, I didn't think about, oh, she wrote this because people called her, you know, a jet setting serial dater. Like, you know, I didn't think about that kind of stuff. Did you?
I remember I wasn't really paying attention to the lyrics much, and when I was first introduced to the song like Mean, I really used it as a kind of a joke to tell people in my life if they did anything I slightly didn't like, I would sing that song. So I was thinking more about how much I just loved the music in general also. I wasn't really thinking about the lyrics until I
Yeah.
got older, and I was like, wow, that stuff probably really affected her to the point where she wrote that song, which I mean, those songs are two of her biggest hits, so she did a great job with
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. Like okay, I like Blank Space a lot and Wildest Dreams, but I feel like um Wildest Dreams I didn't really relate to in style. I was like, "Oh, you know, they're good songs." But mainly Blank Space and Shake It Off, especially because I was like, Shake It Off, you know. I was just like singing that everywhere. I didn't pay attention to the lyrics or anything, but like going back and listening to 1989 now and songs that aren't singles like You Are in Love, which is on the deluxe edition, and This Love, they're
Hmm.
such good songs. And thinking about what she was dealing with the media and everything, it really makes you wonder, how is she still putting out music confidently after going through all of that?
Yeah, and the fact that it almost makes you gain a whole new perspective when you listen to it after knowing like what she was going through, because at the same time she was putting out songs that were so upbeat and happy and seeming so positive while also having those other songs on the same album, even if they were on the deluxe edition.
Right. And going through like all of the drama that she experienced in 2014, I can see why she did have to take that break because, in I want to say it was 2016, that was when all the Kanye stuff went down. And it was like, you saw in the Taylor 1989 era, if you've watched the world tour video that she did, it shows all of like her friends. The biggest one, Carly Kloss, how they were like best friends and inseparable and all of that until you see in 2016 where it's like they're not friends anymore. Kim and Kanye happened. Everyone was against Taylor, and for what?
I know, and she was going through all this, and I'm so glad that she was able to take the break that she needed to take, obviously, because I mean this could affect anyone's mental health, but especially when it seems like the entire world is looking at you at the same time.
Yes, I've watched all of her stuff, but I think she talks a lot about that in Miss Americana, and honestly, I'm just so glad that she was able to take a step back. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie. I feel like in 2016, she bleached her hair and she went to the Met Gala with like Tom Hiddleston. And that's where she met her current boyfriend. We all love him, Joe. I love him so much. I
We
love
do love him.
that whole like. I can Joe and Taylor. It's great, but we kind of saw her in this phase before Reputation was released. You know, with this summer love and with Tom and everything, but she took a step back and she found herself. She found her people, the people that were going to stick with her no matter what. And I feel like if she hadn't have done that, well, first of all, we wouldn't have gotten the last 4 albums,
Yeah,
But I mean, I'm so happy for her.
me too, because I mean, honestly, she was put into the industry at such a young age, and that's obviously isn't a bad thing in of
Mhm.
itself. But and then she'd been doing this for years, and all of a sudden she doesn't have anyone. And
Right.
I'm so glad that she was able to find people because she grew up, honestly, because her parents moved her from her home state to Tennessee
Mhm.
for the industry itself. So,
Yeah, I mean, clearly, when you go back and you see how she grew up, it's. I think that it was kind of a mutual agreement between her parents and her. I want to make music for the rest of my life. Well, this is how we're gonna do it. And I think her parents have been very smart with like managing her, and she's made good choices. Because she hasn't. I wouldn't say she hasn't had a scandalous era because I feel like Reputation was that, but as far as like being completely out there and vulnerable and making bad decisions, she hasn't been one of those artists. She's kind of kept to herself and everything. But yeah, you're right. She grew up in the music industry, and I think a lot of the reason she got hate is because she kind of skyrocketed to the top even from her debut, which if you look at the numbers, it's like Tim McGraw, Teardrops on My Guitar, especially our song, like they topped charts. Maybe not like the huge charts. Maybe it wasn't as big as, Shake It Off and stuff, but even when she started off, she was
and
doing really well.
and she was so young as well. And even today, songs like Our Song are really popular on like social media and TikTok.
Mhm. Yes. I think though it all started, debut was personally debut isn't one of my absolute favorites. It's not at the I wouldn't say it's at the very bottom of the list. Um but she was really young when she wrote that, and a lot of what she talked about is kind of like this, innocent fairy tale-ish type love. Um and I just can't relate to that as much. And I also don't like love the sound of a lot of those songs. I'm not a huge country music person. I just like Taylor. But
Yeah, me too. It just really shows her growth if you listen to that and
exactly,
then listen
yeah.
to her newer songs.
Even with songs like Fearless, like of the Vault song You All Over Me, she wrote that when she was 14, 15, maybe a little older, but no younger than that. Like going from you know something like Our Song to I Have You All Over Me, it it really shows how talented she is and how she developed a lot in a short amount of time.
and developing in the industry. She also has so much writing experience, which is probably why today she's one of the best like music songwriters.
Mm-hmm.
Her lyrics always mean something. Like there's always some deeper meaning
Exactly.
behind everything she says.
Right. And it's crazy to think how she'll say something like speak now or fearless relating to a single word like gold or blue, and then now, I think the main thing would be like invisible string is the song at the top of my head right now, where she relates back to like so much. It's like it's in the third verse. It's like still was the wait cold was the still of the axe to grind for the boys who broke my heart. Now I send their babies presents. It's like that goes all the way back to the Jonas Brothers and like the Fearless era. I think that's just so cool how it like jumps, and how everything she says, like you said, means
Yeah, it's
something.
all her songs are somehow related to one another
Mm-hmm.
in a way. And I feel like especially with her newer albums that she's really kind of looking back at what
Yeah.
she wrote back then and how she can make it feel more personal and more relatable to the audience and the
Right.
people who are listening.
I mean, she has a whole album dedicated to like this whole like love triangle folklore, And when I listened to that at first, I was like, I really liked it. I think that honestly, that was my I'm a Swiftie now forever, because I watched it during quarantine on Disney Plus, like the Long Pond
Me
Studio
too.
sessions. Yeah. So I liked a couple of songs off Reputation, and then I watched that and I was like, "Oh my god. Like I love the songs like Illicit Affairs and Peace." I'm
They
sitting
all hit
here.
so good.
Exactly. I'm just like, oh my word. And then of course you have, songs like August and everything, but the fact that she has the talent to just like sit down, write a whole album about a love triangle that she hasn't even like experienced, I think it's amazing.
Yeah, she's almost like an author. Like, I mean, songwriters and authors are really like related in a really heavy way, but she really brings that into a new level of storytelling with her music. Like,
Mhm.
especially with Folklore and Evermore, because I remember Folklore was literally announced like right when it came out. Like, there was no warning that she was about to release an album, and all of a sudden there it was.
She just like drops Folklore. She's like, "Hey guys, I've been busy in quarantine. Here you go." Which I was so when I heard it, I was like, okay, this isn't the Taylor I'm used to, but it's the Taylor that I'm going to be listening to, because it's amazing. I just think that she's so talented that she can just like switch genres again successfully.
And she really let everything out in there. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she stopped. If there was any barrier before, she broke it then and just kind of let you have everything that she had wanted to write. It's like she just decided that she's going to write what makes her happy. And it worked out for everyone because Folklore is such a meaningful album in itself, as well as Evermore, because they're kind of like sister albums.
Right.
And yeah, it's just such an album that you would I never expected when it came out, because I remember I was literally at my grandparents' house when she made the post that she was putting it out at midnight, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know where this came from, but I really like it.
Yeah. I didn't follow her on Instagram at that time, but I was watching Hamilton and it was like, this is recommended for you. And I was like, oh, it's Taylor Swift. Like, I like Reputation, all right. Let's see. Just like that allure from her name, okay. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I just think to, to think that she was nervous about putting that out there, I mean, I don't know. I'm just like, why would you be? Because you're going to have people listening anyways. I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah, and especially because I mean, Folklore is a very widely loved album because it's not what they're used to. And someone's like, "Oh, I don't listen to Taylor Swift," but if you listen to Folklore, you understand she's not just a one genre person. She's got an album for everyone. I feel like
She has a song for every emotion that I feel. It's so scary. Like,
I know I mean, you can go through any emotion in those two albums, especially because she's writing about these people and you get yourself attached to them in the song, even though you've never met them, and some of them are completely
exactly.
made up.
Yes, I was listening today because actually I was writing a song and I was trying to figure out if the title had been used before. And one of Taylor's songs from Evermore, the deluxe edition, one of those songs popped up. It's called It's Time to Go, or Time to Go, you know when it's time to go. And then
Mhm.
I'd heard that there was like rumors about that song talking about Scott Borchetta. Um and after listening to it, she starts off in the first couple of verses like talking about different people, you know when it's time to go in life. You need to leave this job or this relationship and everything. And then she gets to like verse 3 and she's like, 15 years, 15 million tears. I gave it my all. He gave me nothing at all. And I'm like sitting here like, he has my past frozen behind glass. I'm like, that's talking about Scott and how he like, took her music and took her masters and sold them behind her back, which I want to get into a lot in this podcast. Like, I think that is the most interesting thing to me, is how that,
I agree.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that was probably one of the most affecting things on her during what she was going through, especially, I mean, that song, I've heard that song, and it's honestly one that can make you almost understand exactly what she was feeling.
Yes. She's always had a way with words, in that, besides, I feel like Dear John, which is literally, we all know who that's about. But in songs like All Too Well, and even Style, you think it's about Harry Styles, but she never says it for sure. And even in songs like Time to Go, she never flat out says, Scott, you took away my whole entire life that I'd worked so hard on. Like, she has just a way with writing, but not giving it all away, which is beautiful.
Yeah, it's a way where she doesn't even have to say it. It's just, you can listen and you just kind of know.
Right, exactly. Yeah, this is switching everything up completely, but we've gone on a tangent about like our love for Taylor Swift. How did we meet? How did we meet?
We met when I was in 7th grade in Legally Blonde, our school's production of Legally Blonde, and you were in the tech crew, right?
Yes, I was. That was like my first ever musical that I did, and I fell in love with music and acting behind stage, in front of stage. That was honestly where I figured out that that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. But like, we met, we hit it off, but I didn't, it's not like we met and we was like, oh, are you a Taylor fan? Like, when did you find out? Like, I felt like we talked to one another and it was fun. And then we had the dinner theater show and we talked some more and we got closer. But like, I don't know. We just like, we never knew that we were Taylor Swift fans until, what you say, quarantine?
I would say, yeah, I was going to say quarantine, probably the beginning to the middle of the pandemic, because we were talking a whole lot during quarantine.
Yeah, we were playing Minecraft, and then I like noticed you would put on your Instagram stories and you would tag it with like Taylor Swift, and that's when I was like starting to really, really get into her music and like become a official Swiftie, diehard Swiftie. And I was like, oh my god, she likes like Paper Rings. I was like, oh, Paper Rings, I love that song.
Yeah, I love Paper Rings. It's a really good song. It's one of my favorites on Lover. But yeah, I feel like I don't even think we were thinking about that. And then all of a sudden we were like, oh, we both like Taylor Swift.
Yes. Which this has led to this whole podcast, because I feel like I can't just go to school. I can't talk with my family. They think that talking about Taylor all the time is annoying. I can't just go to school and talk about her all the time, because I'm sure that gets annoying as well. So having an outlet for all of my Taylor Swift rants and everything is going to be so nice to have.
I know. We were just talking the other day and we really noticed how nice it was to just talk about Taylor Swift for an hour.
Yes. Like everyone else around us was like, oh my god. Oh. And then we were just like, let's start a podcast. And here we are now.
I know. It led to this.
Yeah, so
I'm really glad we actually ended up recording.
Me too. Yes. What would you say some of our plans or goals for this podcast are, though? Like, where do we want to take it?
Well, for now, I feel like we're trying to focus more on getting through, kind of analyzing the early Taylor Swift songs and all of the different eras of Taylor Swift.
Yes. Yeah.
Because obviously there's a lot, but...
Right. Yeah. This podcast is actually going to be divided into seasons and episodes. So the seasons will be based off of the era that we are currently in. So we're going to start from debut and then work ourselves all the way up until whenever she decides to stop making music. Right now we're at Red Taylor's version. So
Yeah, which releases next month on November 12th. Oh
yes,
my
I'm
gosh.
so excited. Literally, the song, this is like, I'm getting off topic again, but the song that I'm so excited to hear more than any of the other ones is Sad, Beautiful, Tragic. And I know it's not one of her most popular songs, but she's in such a low register during that. And then her voice was so young then. I'm so anxious to hear what it sounds like now. Do you know that song?
Me too. I do know that song, and I'm so excited. Red was one of the albums that I also grew up with, like, very heavily.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like the original album, so I can't wait to see what she does. Also, the 10-minute version of Isn't It All Too Well?
Oh my word. I can't wait. I'm going to be crying for 10 minutes at a time. Like, oh my gosh. To think, though, that Red Taylor's version is going to have 30 tracks. 30!
30, that's so many. Like, not to compare it to something totally different, but Hamilton has 42.
Oh my word.
It's basically a Taylor Swift musical.
Oh my word. Okay, this is, wow. Like, that is so exciting. And I was looking at some of the collaborations too. I'm so excited about that. But anyways,
I know.
Getting back on topic, it's gonna be based in like the eras. So debut era is actually we're gonna cover her Christmas album too, and some of those unreleased songs. Like, what is it? I Heart. Man, I hope she re-records I Heart. Have you ever heard that?
Me too.
Yes.
I've actually never heard. I've heard like segments, but I think some of my favorite tracks have been the tracks from the vault because they're kind of unexpected every single time.
Yeah, it's literally just like, hey guys, so I'm gonna re-record this, and then I'm also excited to know like what Message in a Bottle is, because that just intrigues me so much. It's like Message in a Bottle to Jake Gyllenhaal, because we all know that who Red is about.
Yeah.
It's about him and a Kennedy. Like, did you know Taylor Swift went on a date with one of the Kennedys?
I heard. I was kind of shocked to hear that.
Yeah, that's what Begin Again is about.
I love Begin Again. Oh, that's such a good song.
Literally, let me tell you, Begin Again is what made me, realize, oh my God, like, it's possible to truly begin again. Because for a while there, I was like, God, this is terrible. I hate this so much. And then I was like, on a Wednesday in a cafe, I watched a Begin Again. Oh my God, this episode is going to go out on a Wednesday. I just realized
know.
That.
And maybe someone will be listening to it in a cafe.
If you are listening to Taylor talk on a Wednesday in a cafe, thank you. Please watch it Begin Again. Honestly, that's my dream. Like, coffee shop AU. Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I love it so much.
Like, the idea of just like walking in and being like, oh my God, my lover, coffee shop. Like, oh, that's amazing.
That song is it was one of for when I was younger, I also really loved Begin Again. Like, it was one of those songs where I may not have really known what it meant because I was young, but I knew how to sing it and I knew all the words.
Yes, me too. Well, I think we went through a lot in this episode. We did a lot, and I'm so excited for you guys to be listening. You can find us on anywhere. I need to be more specific. You can find us right now on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts. I guess anywhere you can listen to podcasts, we'll show up. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram at TaylorTalk_official. We would really appreciate if you guys gave us a follow. So yeah, bye guys.
Thank you for listening.
Yes, bye.
Bye.